Tired of liberals ghosting half this country. Conservatives do it too, but not nearly as much. Look, whoever's doing it, it's got to stop, because we're at a point now where politics has broken up more families than letting your wife see your phone. Maybe the problem isn't that America isn't worth defending. Maybe the problem is that lots of people today are entitled whiners who have no perspective and no idea how good they have it.
Bill Maher is criticizing the left again, and this time he is talking about their negative attitude toward America. He says that since Trump started his second term, many liberals who once praised America during Biden's time are now speaking badly about the country. Maher points out this double standard clearly. Instead of following others and attacking America, he is calling them out. As always, if you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and let's begin.
On the liberal side, there's two camps now. The we need to keep talking to people wing and the go no contact wing. That's what they call it now, go no contact. This belief that Trump voters, even if it's your own parents, are too deplorable for human contact and must be cut off. You know, like Scientologists do to suppressive people.
Maher started by criticizing Democrats for refusing to talk to people who voted for Trump. In their view, these voters are seen as bad, socially unacceptable, and not worth talking to. Maher believes this is a serious problem. For example, there are stories about Jimmy Kimmel's wife, who said she told her family not to vote for Trump and stop talking to those who did. Instead of being seen as extreme, many people praised this behavior. Also, many Democrat women openly say they won't date Republican men, as if political differences make someone a bad person. Maher's argument is very clear. If you refuse to talk or live peacefully with half the country, you are not protecting democracy, you are hurting it. Disagreement has now turned into isolation, and Maher says Democrats should not deny this reality.
Former speechwriter for Obama named David Litt wrote an op-ed this year called, "Is it time to stop snubbing your right-wing family?" where he admitted he'd had a change of heart, and that was the wrong approach. So, of course, then the woke wing tried to banish him for breaking ranks on their policy of hating people who don't agree with you on everything, because what fun is life if you're not cutting somebody off?
Maher says the situation is getting worse. Some people on the left are now being rejected just for talking to conservatives. They are not becoming conservatives themselves, but simply having a conversation is enough to get them criticized. This shows how extreme things have become. If the left truly believed their ideas were strong, they would not fear discussion. They would see it as a chance to convince others or at least understand different views. But instead, many treat conversation like something dangerous. Maher's point is simple. If a group is afraid of discussion, it shows weakness, not strength. Silencing others does not prove you are right. It shows fear.
Mr. Litt asked the question, what has all this banishing accomplished? Oh, I know. A second helping of MAGA, that's what. Molly McNerney, Jimmy Kimmel's wife and head writer, went public on this topic recently, so I feel it's fair to comment respectfully in public. She says she's lost relationships with relatives because she wrote them an email before the election with 10 reasons why they shouldn't vote for Trump, and some still didn't obey. So, you know.
This situation is not limited to one example like Jimmy Kimmel's wife. Many people believe the left should never interact with the right at all. For them, even talking feels like betrayal. However, Maher suggests that the real issue comes from powerful voices in media who have strongly criticized Trump for years. This has made many people believe he is completely unfit to lead. When media presents political opponents as enemies instead of rivals, it changes how people see even their own friends and family. Maher's larger point is that this kind of thinking damages relationships. When politics becomes a question of absolute right and wrong, normal disagreement starts to look dangerous.
Reasons. I can think of 100. But I would never present it to someone as an ultimatum. Ultimatums don't make people rethink their politics. They make them rethink you. Somewhere along the way, my values became code for I'm the only one with a moral compass. You know what would have been a better exercise? Write a top 10 list to yourself where you try to imagine 10 reasons why 77 million Americans didn't want to trust you with taking power. And I say that as someone who votes Democratic. As I like to remind my very pure friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Maher believes this behavior has hurt the party itself. He says leaders supported a weak and unpopular candidate, expecting people to support them without question. At the same time, their messages did not connect with everyday people. Issues like the economy, safety, and daily life were ignored. Even when there were warning signs, they did not change their approach. Instead, they continued using the same strong and preachy language that many voters disliked. Critics were quickly labeled as ignorant or hateful. Because of this, the outcome was not surprising. The party faced a major loss. Maher's point is that if a party ignores people and refuses to listen, it should not be shocked when voters reject it.
Please try to remember, especially at this time of year, that most people don't decide their politics. They inherit them. It's about where you grew up in America, what your parents taught you, your life experiences, your religion. Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia was here recently, and I was amazed by the number of people who reached out after the show to say, wow, I kind of like her. Yeah, that's been my line for a while. Everyone's a monster till you talk to them.
Maher's visit to the White House shows his main idea clearly. He believes people often seem like monsters until you actually talk to them. Meeting Trump did not make him a supporter, but it helped him see things more clearly instead of relying on assumptions. After the meeting, Maher admitted he had to rethink some of his views. This honesty made many people on the left uncomfortable. His message is simple. Avoiding conversation only increases misunderstanding. He is encouraging liberals to talk to Republicans, not to agree with them, but to understand them. According to Maher, discussion makes ideas stronger, not weaker. When people talk instead of shouting, confusion decreases and reality becomes clearer.
We quoted people in our own Defense Department who had said, well, hold on, what you think might be aliens actually could be fallen angels or demons. Marjorie agreed, saying, absolutely. She said, I'm a Christian conservative, angels and demons, that's what we believe. Okay, I think that's nuts. But you know what? So is this a girl or a boy? I can't tell by its...
Maher also says something important that many people may not like. He argues that the left does not have all the answers or all the intelligence. Just like the right, they also have flawed ideas and blind spots. He is not saying conservatives are perfect, but he is challenging the belief that the left is always smarter or morally better. When people think they are always right, they stop questioning themselves. This leads to arrogance instead of real thinking. Maher believes this attitude has damaged serious debate and turned politics into a show. Constant lecturing and moral judgment mean nothing if you cannot defend your ideas properly. In the end, he says humility is more valuable than acting superior.
Well as 1,000 other things about the Trump administration I never stop pointing out on this show. But I'm an adult, and in the real world, there's some people you just can't stop talking to, like your spouse or partner after a bad fight, tempting as that is. Like your of a boss, like your family, and like the President of the United States. This is so childish, so purely emotional. The people who got all butthurt because I had dinner with him, you know, because he's Hitler. Except he's not. So unhelpful and dumb. Trump is the most supportive president Israel and the Jews ever had.
Maher also talks about the impact of politics on personal relationships. Many friendships, families, and even marriages are being damaged because of political differences. People who once lived happily together are now divided. According to Maher, this is largely because some people refuse to accept any disagreement. Even small differences are treated like serious moral problems. Instead of discussing issues, people simply reject each other. Instead of compromise, there is anger. When politics becomes more important than love and shared history, something is clearly wrong. Maher warns that if people cannot even talk peacefully at home, it becomes very difficult to live together in a larger society.
Now, every year I used to ask Larry David to do real time, and he'd always say, Bill, I can't. I'm not smart enough about politics to do your show. Yeah, I get that now. Because there is no argument here. There's just the sugar rush that the no contact people get from never coming in second in a I hate Trump the most contest. Really? That's your strategy, to go full high school and tell the guy with all the power he can't sit with you at the lunch table? To borrow a phrase familiar to HBO viewers, you are not serious people.
Maher believes fear is a big reason behind this behavior. Some people on the left may be afraid that they could lose arguments to conservatives. So instead of debating, they avoid conversation completely. This is why Maher criticized Larry David, who spoke against him for visiting Trump but refused to have political discussions himself. Maher had invited him to his show many times, but he declined, saying he was not knowledgeable enough. However, he still felt comfortable criticizing Maher publicly. Maher points out this contradiction. He says you cannot avoid debate while also expressing strong opinions. If you want to criticize, you should be willing to discuss and defend your views openly.
Axios wrote a column in August entitled 11 Ways to Influence Trump, based on many interviews with people who have done that. Number 8, get face-to-face. The trick is getting in the room, away from cameras and social media. Trump will say or write horrible things, but rarely in person, one-on-one, where he comes off kinder, more interested, less erratic. Exactly. And there's a bunch of examples of this, most recently the CEO of Intel, who Trump was hating on, but then he met in person and now he's a great guy.
In the end, Maher's message is very clear. He believes the biggest problem on the left is not Trump or conservatives, but their own unwillingness to accept different opinions. By avoiding debate and conversation, they have created an echo chamber where only one type of thinking is allowed. Politics has become very personal, and disagreement is treated like betrayal. Anyone who speaks differently is pushed out. Events like Maher's White House visit and the backlash he faced show this clearly. Fear has replaced confidence, fear of losing arguments, fear of being challenged, and fear of being wrong. Maher is not asking people to change their beliefs. He is asking them to defend them through open discussion. Because in the end, a movement that cannot handle conversation cannot grow or succeed.